All right, here we go. This is hard to kill number 8. We got Dan Ditusa. Did I say that right?
Yep.
There we go. First try. Let's go. So Dan is a financial advisor, and he can correct me if I'm incorrect with that title, for Morgan Stanley, former baseball player for Seton Hall, and a guy that seems to be hard to kill through a myriad of experiences that he shared with me off air and that Drew still has to learn about. So Dan, why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dive into things.
For sure. So yeah, I'm Dan Ditusa. I've been in corporate America, for lack of a better term, for 4 going on 5 years, all with Morgan Stanley. But prior to that, I grew up in the world of sports, baseball, basketball, and had an opportunity to play baseball at the college level, which we'll talk more about today. Great 4 years there, lifelong friends. Love being in a team environment. And then I did 2 years post-grad, my MBA at Seton Hall as well. And then went right into the workforce. So born and raised in the Midwest, right outside of Chicago. So I might have a little bit Midwest in me if I don't have the New York accent. I'm a White Sox, Bears fan by heart. I'm surrounded by Giants and Jets and Eagles fans. So it's tough to get along with them, but we play nice as much as we can.
Tough crowd.
Yeah, no kidding. And then amidst all of that, I was one of the many who had to reschedule my wedding from last year. So I'm set to get married in 29 days, a month from yesterday. And it better happen this year, man. We can't wait any longer. So it's got to happen.
It's exciting stuff. I mean, I'm newly engaged, as you know, and it's our wedding's next year, and I can't wait. I can't even imagine, you guys had everything set in stone, and then it's oh wait, never mind, you got to wait a whole nother year and a half, however long it was.
Right. So yeah, I can, if when the time comes, if you need advice, I can tell you what didn't work. So you could at least save yourself some headaches and some hassle on that end, but no one right way to do it. So whatever you guys will do will be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep this content.
I said, yeah, as soon as something falls off with the wedding, you're the man that's getting the call.
Yeah, exactly. Great.
We'll touch base in 20, 30 days.
Perfect.
So Dan, what initially got you into baseball?
Well, I'm the only left-handed person in my family. So for those that know baseball, for those that don't, you'll hear a left-handed baseball player is a commodity, for lack of a better word. So I had the ability to be able to throw and pitch with my left hand, and always got a lot of attention just from that. And just gravitated towards playing baseball because I loved being in a team sport. I was never the biggest guy or the strongest guy. Football wasn't for me. And, I loved being on the mound and being in a team sport, but having a lot of individual factors go into the outcome of the game. And so, I loved being on the mound when the game was on the line. I loved being on the mound, having to come in and relieve a guy that struggled. And I loved having to get taken off the mound to get supported by another guy coming in, knowing that I was going to be taken care of. So it was kind of a culmination of being in a team sport and having a lot of individual contribution that really gravitated towards me. And then vice versa, I wanted to be a part of the game just because I just grew up around it. All of my my childhood heroes that were sports players and athletes were all baseball guys. So it was kind of a natural fit.
For sure. And it sounds like, it kind of goes along with your life having a theme, which we'll kind of get into with what you went through with baseball. But, what you do now is you help yourself while also helping others and working with other people. You're working independently while also being a part of a team. And you could even say that the people that you hate are a part of your team as well. So, them being successful and making good decisions helps you. And then you're also able to turn around and help them make good decisions and help themselves. So everything in your life is almost conducive. And you can see that in just something as simple as the game you loved to play when you were a kid.
100%. I mean, I couldn't have said it to anybody. I won't even repeat you. That was perfect.
Yes.
When, at what age, at what point in your life did you just kind of dial in on just baseball?
So
Did you play all sports all through high school, and then just kind of when it came to college, that was your favorite? That's what you were best at, and you kind of singled in on that?
So my favorite sport was basketball. I'm an average-sized, average-build guy from the Midwest, so basketball career didn't have too much of a future for me. I was never the most talented guy there, and even work ethic-wise, it really only got me so far in basketball. You know, I could only jump so high. I could only run so fast. I mean, as good as I thought I was at defense, like there were still guys that were just so much quicker and faster than me, and I had, I was able to keep up, and I was a high school player. But baseball for me, really going into my senior year of high school, like I was a very early bloomer in terms of growth and, having a beard in sixth grade and everything like that, and losing my hair at 27. But in terms of my athletic career, I was a really late bloomer. I wasn't on anybody's radar as, a middle schooler, freshman, sophomore, or junior year of high school. I had to work my ass off my senior year while all my buddies were already committed to schools. I was still trying to find that role and that opportunity in college. So I bloomed really late, but I always wanted to play basketball. Baseball was just where my career was, again, just being left-handed and kind of developing a little bit later.
I'd say that's a little similar to me. I was dead set on playing football, and I wasn't quite like the prototypical size. And for me, I just felt like where I was as a complete athlete catered more to wrestling. So like the love was with like football. Don't get me wrong, I loved wrestling too, but I just saw like a much better path to success with wrestling, kind of similar to you in baseball.
Yeah, you have to take calculated risks in life, right? I mean, you're if you bet on yourself, but it's actually in my LinkedIn banners, the only risk-free bet that you can ever make is the one you make on yourself, right? So whatever you choose, you're gonna be successful at it. It's just a matter of like picking the route you want to go. Like you're not gonna let yourself fail. Drew, Jerald, you guys are in the octagon one-on-one with somebody else. You either win or you learn, right? There's no failing. And in life, baseball and your career, like whatever path you choose, you're not going to let yourself fail. Well, whether you're a founder of a startup or you're joining a team at the bottom of the totem pole, like you're going to do whatever it takes because it's sink or swim in the real world. And the people that don't, get swallowed up. And, sometimes they need a little bit of a pick me up to get back on track. But, I think really great things happen when you put yourself on an island, like a one person sport, even though you guys obviously have a big team behind you. Baseball, you got a big team behind you, but when you're on the mound, man, it feels like the loneliest place in the world. And you're not going to let yourself fail in those circumstances. So, like you said, it's you gravitate towards what you do best. But even if you wanted to try something new, like there's no doubt in my mind that you'd be good at it and you'd do well.
For sure, I feel like many times in life, if you let someone else choose for you, you will get chewed up and swallowed and spit out.
Right.
as we get older on this life journey, So yeah, I'm totally with you on that, man. Totally with you on that.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about baseball, and you experienced some things in that, and in my opinion, things that made you a tougher and better person. So walk us through your high school baseball experience.
Sure. And I'll preface this by saying, anybody that ends up listening to this, like this is a real life story of perseverance and getting just knocked down 9 times and being willing to stand up the 10th time. All right. This is not a fabricated story. I'm not going to exaggerate. I'm going to tell it how it is, but everybody can relate to this at some point. And I hope that, anyone that hears this understands and realizes when they come into a situation like this in their life, as long as you keep pushing through, like you're going to end out on the other end. So what I want to share about my career is, as I discussed with you guys briefly, super late bloomer. I wasn't on anybody's radar, even graduating or going from my junior to senior year in high school, right? So you can start getting recruited as a college athlete, at least in baseball, July 1st before your senior year. So as soon as you finish junior year, everybody starts attacking you. Like July 1st, if you're heavily recruited, you're going to get 10 phone calls from coaches. You're going to get 50 letters in the mail. You're going to get emails wanting you to come visit campus. All right, I got 0 of those. So I was worried about making the varsity team. So I go to tryouts. varsity, you know, like that's the biggest deal in a kid's life. For a lot of kids, even on the best varsity teams around the country, you know, maybe 30% of the kids get a chance to play in college. All right, so right off the bat, 70%, like senior year is it for them. And, you know, I wanted to be part of that 30 that had an opportunity, but I needed to make the team. So I got cut from the varsity team. Actually, I should say going into my junior year. So let me go back real quick. Junior year cut. Like I was thinking to myself, like, forget college. I'm not even going to get to play high school baseball at the highest level. Devastated, destroyed. Like I feel myself crying when I look back on it. Like I remember that pain and that emotion so clearly. And in the grand scheme of things, like that seems small, but in the moment, that is the biggest thing in your whole life. You know, like that is your Super Bowl. Man, that's your Super Bowl. That's everything. Exactly. So I was devastated, but I didn't give up. So I continued to play on, you know, the equivalent of like the in-house team. And, you know, I'm going to pitch one day and we get news before the game that our varsity coach was let go or no longer coaching. I'm like, okay, like the guy that cut me is gone. Like that's not necessarily a bad thing. So I pitch, you know, I didn't pay attention to who was in the stands or anything. Come out, game's over. I did well. And guy comes over, shakes my hand. You know, I'm the new varsity coach. I don't know what made him come to the in-house game that day, but he's like, you belong on our team. He come to find out he was a left-handed pitcher in college. We had a lot to connect on and you know, work with right off the bat. But, you know, that was my first defining moment in my life where I could have called it quits, right? The other three guys that got cut junior year with me stopped playing. They didn't play on the in-house team. They never tried out for varsity again. Careers were over. So right there, I was 1 out of 4. I was the 25% that got a chance to bank varsity. Junior year, stunk. I think I threw like 7 innings out of a whole season, which is nothing, right? It's not even one full game. And then again, junior year going into senior year, not one recruit visit, not one piece of interest from anybody. So next defining moment, I go to college, like a prospect camp, and I won't mention the school. And it was a Division I school. And full 2-day evaluation. They put you through drills, you scrimmage, the whole works. Then they send you an evaluation a week later, scale of 1 to 10 in, you know, your projection, your coachability, your team camaraderie, so on and so forth. Get my letter, scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 2. So 2 equated to decent high school career, not an opportunity to play in college. Okay. Crushed. I ripped up the paper, threw it out. My mom, of all people, pulls it out of the trash, tapes it together. She said, put it on the fridge. This is your motivation for the next year. Like, wipe the tears and get back to work. So defining moment number 2, like I was told I wasn't going to be able to play in college. It was my sole motivator for working as hard as I could going into my senior year.
Can I interrupt real quick?
Yeah.
That's a very good motherly move right there. That's I don't think you hear about that one that often nowadays. You know,
she's a superstar, man. She's a badass. She's
that's a good one.
Yeah, she's everything to me. You know, and
shout out to good moms.
Shout out to good moms.
You know, if you have one, give her a hug when you hear this. But yeah, it was a special moment for me because they're the ones that coddle you, right? They're the everything's going to be okay. Yeah. And she decided to take the everything's only going to be okay if you do something about it approach. And it changed my life. So defining moment number 2, mom kicked me in the ass. Good to go.
Good.
Senior year, do well. You know, February comes around and I have a chance to walk on, basically a preferred walk on at a Division I school, which, you know, over the moon now, right? So talk about like the low of the low and the high of the high. Long story short, I accept that. I joined freshman year as a preferred walk on, and by my senior year, I was a scholarship, you know, athlete on the team. So I had to work my way up and earn that and get better every year. But that is my long-winded story of adversity on the baseball field, and it's completely shaped who I am as a person. Looking back, like those seem like small things in the grand scheme of things, but in the moment, those were my everything. And I'm really surprised and impressed with my ability to continue to, push through those adverse moments. I was really impressed with how much tougher I was than I thought I was in the moment. So those are my moments on the baseball field for sure.
Yeah, dude. You resisting the no factor has probably more than you think. It's probably transferred over into what you're doing now, or just anywhere in life that you're gonna go. Stuff like that with resisting that no has definitely built your character more than you think.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and that's what I try and instill in other people. Is like, as long as you just get back up, you will end up in places higher than you could have ever imagined. And it's not supposed to be philosophical or metaphoric. Like, that's very literal. The only person that gives up is you, right, in your life. So I was really happy. I don't pat myself on the back, but I was really impressed with my ability to do that at a young age and deal with that stuff. And like you said, I had a great support system at home, and being in a team sport, like, your teammates lift you up and make you better. So those shaped my career for sure.
For sure, man. For sure. It's probably definitely laid the foundation for who you are again today in the business world as well too.
Yeah, it has. There's a lot of carryover, right? And you'll notice in finance and in corporate America, ton of former athletes, and there's just something about them that they want to shake your hand, and they're smiling, and they're comfortable putting it all out there and just being vulnerable. And yeah, I definitely think I have those traits as well, and they've translated well for sure with all of the challenges in between, but definitely some good foundational stuff.
For sure. How far are you out of college now?
I'm 4 years out of grad school.
Okay.
I get in 6 years out of undergrad. Yeah. Oh, wow. Already. Yeah.
Very good. How's life been since baseball? Since college, how has life been?
Life's been good, man. Some days adversity to me is like I can't force it. Like, the only way to get buddies to hang out nowadays is like on the golf course or a wedding. Like, that's been tough as hell, right? Nobody wants to hang out. Everybody's got stuff going on, but it's been good. I miss it like crazy. But when I spoke with Jerald earlier, like, I found a good team at work, so I could stay in that team environment, people that push me and motivate me. And, I surround myself with just as much studs as I possibly can. And they, rising tides kind of lift all boats. So it definitely pushes me to take myself to new heights as well.
Yeah. You're a product of your environment, man, wherever you go, dude.
100%.
What is it for you that helps you identify a good person, like a person that is a good fit for your life and that you can see yourself spending time with or working with more than just on a required basis?
Yeah. So the best thing that I ever heard in my life, which shaped my professional career and the way that I approach business, I was told one day, I was meeting with a senior mentor, someone whose time I did not deserve at all. And we get on the phone, like, he gave me a half hour of his time. It turned into an hour, but it started with, "Hey, Dan, pleasure to meet you. I'm glad so-and-so introduced us. What do you want to talk about today to make the next X amount of time as valuable as possible for you?" He didn't even care about mentioning himself, what he does, sell me on anything. It was just like, what can we talk about today that can make you take away something valuable from this and learn something? And so, I mean, Jerald, you probably remember that was definitely the way that I started our conversation with you. And that's kind of how and that's how I start business, because of that. And I'll never forget that my entire life. I see it tattooed on the walls and on the ceilings all day long. It's just like, add value to other people. And so that's really the differentiator for me, right? Everybody says they want to help. Maybe they have an ulterior motive, maybe they don't. But the people that just say, "Listen, I don't even want to talk about myself. What can I do for you today? What can I do to add value to your life?" Like, I want to spend as much time around those people as possible, because I think what goes around comes around, and they realize that by helping others, like, they're gonna if nothing else, they're going to have a great quality of life, and they're going to be able to go to bed at the end of the night knowing that they, made somebody else's life better. So that's really the one thing for me, is just people that proactively look to add value to other people.
And I think I think that's something that's not talked about enough, because as soon as you opened up like that, I was like, all right, I'm like, I don't know this guy like at all at this point, really. And I'm like, I just know that this is a good dude that I need to be talking to and try to work with more than just in this capacity. And me and you have talked about it in terms of like trying to, I mean, you're a connector, which is awesome. You already connected me with one of our future guests, which is cool, a good friend of yours. And it's refreshing to see, because I have spurts where I do that, and I try to do it more often. I think my thing is sometimes I get a little excited, and it's not that I don't want to offer the value first. It's that I like jump, I jump to like the thing that's in the front of my mind. But
Right.
I've always found personally, one, it's funny how people receive it, because especially when you lead in with that, they're like what, why are you asking me if you can do something for me? But then they're engaging in the conversation, because they're like, no one ever asked me that. And then it always comes back around somehow. And that's not why you do it, but it's a pretty damn good factor,
It's a residual.
Someone else, and then it helps.
So I actually started doing this. Obviously, I want, that is like why I think I'm on this earth, is to help other people as much as possible. But I also think that it just completely throws somebody off their game, and you flip the whole conversation before it even started. All right, they think they're getting a call from a financial advisor or a mental health coach or a used car salesman. They're like, all right, this guy's gonna freaking sell me a bunch of crap. And then you start the conversation all with your defenses, and they go, hey, like, what can I do to help you, to add value to your life today? And I'm like, give me a second. I never really thought about that. And it just changes the whole conversation. And it always, always, always ends up well. Even if they're like, no, I'm good, I don't need anything. You're like, all right, well, tell me more about you, right? And then they're at least willing to open up, because you're not intruding on their privacy and you're not invading their lives. And you end up learning a lot about people from little questions like that. So it's a little bit of a mind game, but obviously the grander scheme there is like, you really want to, the more you poke and prod and the more you learn about somebody, the more that your network of lawyers and marketers and investors and athletes and therapists and psychologists, like, you'll be one phone call away from helping anybody with anything. And dude, that makes you hard to kill, right? You're building a moat around your life, right? But if you've got one outlet to call for everything, then you're never going to be stumped, and you're never going to be caught, empty-handed. Like, you're in a good position.
So with that being said, is that the trait that you would say makes you hard to kill?
So yeah, I think, my network has been a pretty good shield. I've been fortunate to be surrounded by some really amazing people on the field, off the field, and work, and my family and relationships, that have made me resilient and hard to kill, because I've got so much more to work for than just myself. Right? It's good to know that at the end of the day, I'm never going to let myself fail. I'm never going to let myself give up. But I've got somebody really great to go home to every day. I'm not going to ruin anything that I've got going with her. Right? I've got great family on her side and my side. I'm going to do whatever I can to make our families look good, be healthy, live as long as they can. And I've got great relationships and friendships that I want to last a lifetime. And I'll do whatever I have to. I'll travel halfway across the country to make sure that I can keep in touch with these guys. And, there's no isn't in the vocabulary. And I think that's, something that a lot of people will say about themselves. But then when you get in that situation, man, it's easy to say, I'm going to snooze the alarm and I'll hit the gym later. Or, I've already had half the candy bar, I'm just going to finish it. Right. But being hard to kill is saying like, no, throw the other half of it out. No, get up and go to the gym, because one day off the weights is one day that somebody else got better than you. Dude, once you do that for 3 weeks, it takes 3 weeks to build a habit. Do it every day for 3 weeks, and you'll never have to worry about getting up early again. You'll never have to worry about eating junk and having to control yourself ever again. It's 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks of hell, and then you're done.
Yep. I agree, man. That's one thing I picked up, man. No is not in your vocabulary, man. There's no chains, for you.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is
Yep.
it's good. It's cool, man. There's a lot of people who let other people dictate their success and whatnot. And like I said, you let someone else choose, you'll probably get swallowed at some point in this world, you know?
So I think that's it. And I think the other half of it is like being the first to admit that you don't know everything, right?
Absolutely.
As soon as you do that, you walk into something open-minded and you pick up a cold call and you're like, all right, let me hear this guy. I might have something cool. Or, I actually posted something on LinkedIn. I was like, hey, somebody asked me about interviewing advice. They had 2 interviews they wanted to go to and 1 they didn't want to. And I said, go to all 3. And they said, why? So, well, that one that you don't want to go to, yeah, everybody's going to tell you, oh, it may end up being something really cool. But what if you went into that interview, you didn't want the job, and afterwards you said, hey, can I give you guys some advice on the interview? Like, here's why I'm not interested in the job. Here's why I think you guys could improve in the interview process. Here's what you can do to attract people like me in the future. Like, does anybody do that ever? No, but it's a free way to add value to someone that didn't even ask for it. And it made you a better person too. I mean, it's little stuff like that what probably means nothing. But again, just take every opportunity because, from there, those people that you interviewed with are going to remember you forever. And you may have just changed the whole way that a company interviews and vets people. And if they didn't ask for feedback, you gave it to them and they needed to hear it. And it's little stuff like that that just makes the world, a better place and just rounds out your network and just makes you reliable and, just builds that moat.
Yeah, and I think so. What you're doing in that scenario, which is awesome, and I wish I wish this upon any of our listeners here or I urge them to give it a try themselves. When you put good out or look to elevate someone close to you, what you're doing is by bringing them up, you're influencing their life, which is influencing the people's lives in their life because it's helping them. So the more that happens, the scope of impact gets larger and larger and larger. If we could get majority of people to operate in that way, ideally the entire world gets better and better and better. And it's like I had a kid in the wrestling class yesterday that just we took a little break and he got a drink and he didn't come back to class, and we were like, where'd the kid go? And I went and searched around the gym and I found him. And I was like, what are you doing, man? And he looks at me and he goes, well, the kid I'm not going with is a year younger than me and he's not very good at wrestling. And it's just hard for me because like I can't practice the move right because he's not as good. But if I go with someone bigger or older and they're better than me, then I'm not going to get any better because they're going to be too good. And I was like, buddy, when you're with that kid that's not as good as you, that is your opportunity to help him get better and to help him not only become a better wrestler, but to understand things a little better and maybe a better person. Then that way, if you elevate his level, he can then challenge you, and then it elevates yours, and then he elevates you. And I just tried to explain to him that it's a never-ending cycle. If you help him, he's going to help you, and everyone in the wrestling room is going to get better and be better as a result of it. And I tried to put it in the best little kid terms as I possibly could. Sometimes it's hard to explain to like a 6 or 7 year old how that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, honestly, like that's kind of how I look at life. If I help him and he helps you and you help someone else, like the scope of everyone getting better just increases.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, little stuff like going to the drive-through and just, giving them an extra $10 and say like, pay for the guy behind me, right? That you hear about those stories all the time. Those change people's lives. It's little stuff that adds up. One of the big things that I say is donate anonymously. Right. Everybody always, when you see the biggest donation and, the athletic center at the college is named after somebody. Right. And yes, they do it for good reasons, but they also want the recognition that comes with it a lot of the times, not everybody. But if you donate anonymously, 0% chance that you get recognition. There's a 0% chance that anybody comes to you and rewards you for that. There's no way short of you telling someone that happens. And when you look at the biggest donation on a GoFundMe and it says anonymous, to me, I think like that's somebody that gets it. Like that's me. And the only way that you get any satisfaction out of that is if it comes from within, because nobody else even knows that you did it. So I think it takes a special person to be unselfish in this world. And that's why you got to be the connector and the network guy, because a lot of people can benefit from having those types of people in their networks or in their lives, and they're hard to find, right?
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure, man.
You got any further questions?
No, not really. Actually, if there's anyone that you would like to, I guess, maybe let's say shout out or anything that would be seeing you speak today when we release this and whatnot, like go ahead and give it a spin, man.
Yeah, there's a lot, and there's a lot of publicity around, like, should you have a mentor, or should you have a coach, or is a mentor even a good thing, or is it a bad word? I think mentors are incredibly important. They don't have to be senior, right? They could be someone in your circle. They could be a friend of yours. They could be somebody younger. There's a stigma that it has to be someone who did what you want to do successfully. Like, a mentor could just be someone that just helps push you, right? Helps you realize your biggest potential. And for me, that was definitely my college teammates. Everybody in my grade, Sal, Kyle, Jose, Connor, DJ, Anthony, Tyler, and Alex. These were guys that we grinded it out together for 4 years. A lot of late nights studying, hitting the gym, hitting the weights, working out, pushing each other, helping each other, off the ledge when we wanted to quit. They shaped my life for sure. And, obviously my better half, Dana, at home gives me a reason to just work my ass off at work and try and spoil the family as much as I can. So between that, I've had a ton of senior mentors who have done stuff really well, but there's so many friends and family, guys like you, right, that are just doing this, living the dream. Like, you are heroes to a lot of us, right? You guys are out here doing this, and it's not easy. It's a big time commitment, and you had no idea what this was going to turn into, right? We're 8 episodes in, like 3-5 years, you're going to look back at this thing and say, "Holy crap!" Like, look what we did because we were just willing to just put in time. So you guys are a huge motivator to me to just make sure, like, if there ever comes a time where I want to make a change or do something, I'm not going to sit on it. I'm going to make it happen. And, it's because of the Hard to Kill podcast and guys like you. So it's an absolute
choice is
privilege.
yours, man. The choice is yours.
Every time.
Yep. So
it's a privilege, guys. So you guys are awesome. I have 2 new friends here, and I can follow. I'm a big. Me and my buddies like to watch the fights on ESPN, but now I got you got another supporter in me, and you guys just got to stay healthy and keep training hard, and you're gonna be successful. You're gonna get as high as you can.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate that, dude.
I know some of you we're gonna see cage side here in a few months.
That's it.
This motherfucker, we got to get him to a fight.
Yeah.
Count on it. Oh, get me to the Midwest, man. Any way to get me to the Midwest, I want to be there. I miss home. I miss my family and friends out there. But no, you guys are incredible. I love what you guys are doing. I promise to get you as many podcast guests in the future, because everybody needs to hear their story, and we got to get your name out there for everybody to hear as well, because this is a special podcast, and you're going to interview some really, really great people.
For sure, dude. I mean, definitely. I mean, the premise is giving people the opportunity to talk who don't get the opportunity to talk, man.
Right.
So, like, there's people who've been waiting their whole life to get just a second to hop on the podcast, and to us, it might be just very little and just very regular, it could be an everyday thing or whatnot, but for someone else, like, you don't get it that often, so it's cool
Right.
when you can give the opportunity to someone who's had a story to tell for a long time, and they've just been waiting to say it themselves and then hear themselves say it afterwards when it gets released and whatnot, it does a lot for you.
Yeah, that's what it's about, and you guys are giving everyone that platform. So
For sure.
I genuinely appreciate it. And again, anything I can ever do for you guys, you give me a shout. I'll be the first one to jump.
Hell yeah, man. We appreciate it, dude. We appreciate it. And it's very nice meeting you, dude.
Likewise, guys. Good luck. Keep doing it. I'll be following. I'm subscribed. I'll be watching every episode and listening. And I'll get you some guests. And what you guys are doing is a great thing. So thank you so much for having me. I hope what I was able to share today can resonate with some people, and we can keep this thing going.
Absolutely, man. We'll stay in touch for sure.
Thanks, Dan. We
All right,
appreciate
fellas.
it.
Thanks again. Thank you.
Take care, Dan.
See ya.
See you guys.